we're doing the laser cutter right now. We're gonna do a walkthrough of how it works, what it can do, that kind of thing. What I find absolutely fascinating about the laser cutter is that we are using very focused light to very carefully and often cleverly edit materials in ways that make them have new properties. So, for instance, we've been using wood as a species for hundreds of thousands of years, at the very least. And with the laser, we can do things in wood. We can get new material properties. The other thing that you get out of using the laser is incredibly fine control. So, kerf is the material removed by some process of shaping it. Usually we talk about this on the bandsaw, the table saw, those sorts of things, and they have a kerf width. That's the thickness, the width, the space left when the blade moves through the material and turns it into sawdust. So the kerf width here on the laser is 0.1 millimeters, which is just incredibly tiny. But the laser also gives us access to repeatability. So you can design something, and then if you need to make a bunch of those things, you can create a jig, a registration jig, that then allows you to drop in multiple parts and do the exact same design on them over and over and over again. Also, you can see here, as well as on this one, that you get access to the ability to really closely follow whatever design it is that you can come up with. Really, the limit with using this machine is only your imagination. The things that you can imagine to do are... So now we'll talk a little bit about exactly how it gets done. There are two types of laser cutting that you can do, raster and vector. Raster is going across line by line all the way down, and it turns on when it should turn on and turns off when you don't want it to be on, and then it turns back on and back off and back on and back off as you go across. All right, so that's raster. Vectoring is doing the outside cuts, though it doesn't have to necessarily be outside. All of these are also vector cuts. All of the design here is also done with a vector cut, and it can do curves, that's not a problem. But it's just two different ways of approaching the same idea, which is turning the laser on and off exactly the pattern that you mean for it to, which again, gives you an incredible amount of power. That said, let's look at it actually doing stuff. So, we actually get this running using CorelDRAW 6. So, come down here, it's the little green guitar pick icon. You open that up. We will go over design. Those are other videos that you can also find on our YouTube channel, either already or in the near future. We have classes for this, but for now, I'm just going to open a file that I know already works. This is just our logo as an example. All of this in the center is going to wind up being raster, and then I'm going to cut it out of the material using that shape. I send it over by telling it to print, going to preferences, and then messing with the stuff in here a little bit. Whatever is on the page is what it will try to print. If you put it in the wrong spot, it'll either put it in a weird spot or just not print what you would anticipate it to. The settings, again, we will talk about what these settings mean and how they work, and how you should think about going through the editing process for them. Right now, I'm just setting it up so that it will hopefully do exactly what it is that I mean for it to do. So, this is the print preview. It's giving me an idea of what it thinks it's going to do. Hopefully that is what it will in fact wind up doing. I have to turn this on. And then we hit print. So, one of the cool things is you don't have to use any particular stable material. It doesn't have to have nice edges on it or anything like that. You can set this up in all sorts of clever ways. So keep that in mind as you're designing and about things that you want to put designs on. Incredibly useful to remember. So we take this, we pop it in, we turn off the XY axis, and then drop the Z axis down a little bit. I'm going to turn on the pointer here. And then that pointer just helps me figure out where I want to put my design. Wherever that is where it will consider home. This is useful, again, for doing phone cases, or if you've already built something in the wood shop, or you want to modify the toolbox that you have. And then we hit set home, and we're ready to go. I hit reset just to make sure. Now it's going to raster down the image. That is, it's going to scan every line as it goes down, turning the laser on and off when necessary. Every time it goes across, there's math that has been sent to this that tells it exactly when to turn the laser on and when to turn it back off. And this is within tiny fractions of a second. And so as you can see, when it went across factory, it had to turn on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off a bunch, just to make sure. That was the first type of cut you can do, that is rastering. And this is a vector cut. And you can see that it's moving very differently. Now it's just turning the laser on and following one precise path. It dropped out there. That is a real good thing, because it means that my settings were accurate. And then, there you go. So hopefully you are as excited about this as I am. This is absolutely one of my favorite things to mess with, to think with, to design so fast. You know, this took, I don't know, a minute and a half to cut. And if I don't like it, I change it over here and then cut it again, see what that's like. And it's just a spectacular tool that we will absolutely be helping you figure out how to design for and work with through both these videos. And when you're able to be in the space on a regular basis, you come in and we will help you figure out how to do whatever it is that you want to do, if it can be done, and most things can. I hope this was fun for you. It certainly was for me. Focus on the laser. It's a dumb joke.
I mean, you could literally just start with laser cutter.